Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming. If we haven't met before, my name is again Kelsang Talopa. Kelsang means a fortunate person, which is the name of, the family name of all the ordained people in our tradition. And my individual name is Talopa. So you can call me again Talopa. Again, just means teacher. So, we're continuing with a consideration of how we can become the best we can be, which means in terms of making our life meaningful by using it to bring benefit to other people. Yeah, this is the most meaningful thing we can do. I mean, if we spend our life doing this, by the time we come to the end of our life, we can look back and we've no regrets. We spent every day thinking about how we can bring benefit to other people. So the training of the mind, because we're not kind of used to that kind of view. Most of the time we're just acting for our own self-interest. Yeah, so it's a very challenging thing that we've got to accomplish, to turn our mind around, to stop just thinking about ourselves in every situation and come to think about other people. So the practice of training the mind is called Lojong. The word Lo refers to mind, and Jong means just training. Training the mind to become more loving and compassionate. And then from that love and compassion comes a strong desire to acquire the power, the spiritual energy and power to really help other people. And that wish is called bodhicitta. Bodhicitta. Again, citta meaning mind, Sanskrit word for mind, and bodhi meaning enlightenment. So it's almost like naturally we begin on this journey. We begin to think other people are as important as me. And then we begin to realize the benefits that come from that. We experience more joy and peace and happiness because we're kind of sharing our energy and our resources. But then from that we want to do more, just naturally. It's almost like we can't help ourselves. We just want to do more. Because we begin to realize that this is the real source of our happiness and peace. And so we enjoy this happiness, we enjoy this peace, we want to do more. And so eventually we get to the state where we think of other people not just equal, but actually more important. And then we begin to view ourselves as just an instrument in the pursuit of the happiness of other people. It doesn't mean to say that we don't look after ourselves, but the reason we're looking after ourselves is so we can better do this job of looking after other people. Because if you think, there's a nice analogy of an ambulance driver. If the ambulance driver just drives his vehicle 24 hours a day, he's going to get sick and fall over himself, and B, the ambulance is going to stop working. And then he won't be able to function, to perform this service for other people. And so in the same way, we need to be able to look after ourselves, to eat good food that sustains our body. We need to take exercise, and then we need to rest, and we need to keep a happy mind. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we recite the liberating prayer. This is a prayer that recognizes the good qualities of the founder of these teachings, the founder of Buddhism, is Buddha Shakyamuni. Recognizing the good qualities and then wishing to acquire those same good qualities for ourselves so we can do the same thing. And then we'll meditate, and then we'll get into this process of training the mind. Is that all right? Well, it has to be. Sorry.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dharma flourish forevermore.
And so we can meditate. In meditation, it's good to have a good posture. You try to have a straight back. If you wish, you can place the back of your right hand in the palm of your left and raise the thumbs so the tips of your thumbs touch gently together. And then relax your hands into your lap. The right hand refers to compassion, and the left hand refers to wisdom. So when we put the two together like that, we have the union of wisdom and compassion, which is the nature of a Buddha's mind. You can gently close your eyes and close your mouth. For a few moments, just watch the rhythm of your breathing. And then we can do the meditation that's called black and white breathing. Just think about all your negative thoughts and feelings. Feelings of irritation or anger. Any sense of loss or disappointment. Any feelings of uncontrolled desires that make your mind unpeaceful. Any feelings of anxiety about what might happen in the future. Any difficult memories of things that have happened in the past. Imagine that all these little pieces of negative mental energy, all of this negative mental energy transforms into black smoke. Every last piece of negative mental energy transforms into black smoke. And this smoke gathers inside your body at the level of your heart. Imagine you're seeing this cloud of thick black smoke, and you realize this is everything that's destroying your experience of peace. And so you want to be free. You want to free yourself from these obstructions, this cloud of thick black smoke. So every time you breathe out, imagine you're breathing out some black smoke. And as the smoke leaves your body, it vanishes far away into empty space. And so you realize just by breathing out, eventually all that smoke will disappear. And you'll be free of everything that's preventing you from finding peace. And then as you breathe in, imagine you're breathing in white light. This light comes from the good wishes or blessings of all those who have gone before. All those who have found their way to enlightenment. And now they want the same for you. And so they pour down their good wishes or blessings in the form of white light. And so you breathe in this white light and it fills your mind with positive energy. inspiring thoughts and confidence. So you sit in meditation, breathing out black smoke of negative thoughts and feelings, breathing in white light that's inspiring your mind, filling your mind with positive thoughts and energy and confidence. Just take another 4 breaths to breathe away the last of any remaining black smoke. And imagine your mind being filled with positive energy from the white light that you breathe in. And now feel that all the black smoke has gone. Everything that was destroying your experience of peace has disappeared. Your mind is energized by the blessings of holy beings, those who have gone before. And you feel peaceful and confident. So when you arise from meditation in a few moments, try to keep any feelings of peace and confidence. So now you can begin to relax your concentration, gently and slowly allowing your mind to come back to the room. And And when you're ready, you can arise from meditation. So the purpose of meditation is to make our mind familiar with ways of thinking and thoughts that themselves are the cause of happiness. So minds of love, wishing others to be happy, minds of compassion, wishing others to be free of their suffering, but also minds of wisdom that understands the way things really exist. All of these are causes of happiness and peace. So if we fill our mind with these thoughts, then by meditating on them, we become more and more familiar with these minds, and they appear more frequently and more deeply. And eventually, we get rid of all the negative thoughts like irritations and minds of anger, minds of uncontrolled desires, jealousy, anything like that. And it's destroying our peace. These are called delusions because we're viewing the world in a way in which it doesn't exist. And so our mistaken minds, our mistaken views are really the cause of all our delusions, and in turn they're the cause of our suffering and problems. So if we get rid of the delusions and we get rid of our mistaken minds, then we just abide in a state of peace all the time. So it's not that difficult really. It's not something perhaps that we can achieve overnight, but it's definitely achievable. Yeah. So this path of mental training begins with coming to view other people as important as yourself. Yeah. The real problem that causes all our problems and suffering is a mind that just cherishes ourselves. It's called self-cherishing. You see this phrase, self-cherishing, frequently in many Buddhist texts. And it's recognized that this, when we're just thinking of ourselves, we're thinking, I'm the most important person in wherever we are. I'm always the most important, then other people are necessarily less important. And so if they're getting in the way of me fulfilling my wishes, then we get irritated and we get angry with other people. We want to push them out the way. You ever do this? You ever want to do this? Or just I thought it was just me then. So, as long as we have this mind of self-cherishing, then we continue to engage in negative actions, hurtful actions, and then we create negative potentials in our mind. It's called karma. And then these negative potentials will ripen in particular situations and create suffering. So we come to understand that if we want to be free of problems and suffering, we've got to stop creating the causes of it. And one of the best ways to accomplish this is to stop cherishing ourselves and come to cherish others. First of all, equally, and then come to cherish only others. Yeah. Can you imagine living your life where you just put everyone else before you? You begin to view everyone else as more important than you? Yeah, no. It's very difficult for us in the West, actually, because there's so many things that are telling us, oh, you've got to promote yourself. You've got to take care of yourself. Yeah. There's a sense, like, we do have to take care of ourselves, but what is the purpose behind taking care of ourselves? If the real cause of our happiness is our own mind that's wishing others to be happy, then the real purpose of taking care of ourselves is to enable us to do this more, to wish for more people to be happy. So we have a particular circle of people that we have a particular karmic connection with. Our children, our siblings, our relatives, our close friends. And so it's perhaps easy to think, oh well, yeah, I want them to be happy, as long as it doesn't infringe upon my happiness. Because that's what's most important, yeah. So, but gradually becoming more and more familiar with this mind, realizing that in some way or other, people are kind to us. Other people are kind to us. Yeah. If you think of all the things that you enjoy, the clothes you wear, the food you eat, the houses you live in, the cars you drive around in, if you take away the actions of other people that created all of those things, what are we left with? Virtually nothing. Virtually nothing. So our very existence and everything that we enjoy is coming to us from the actions of other people. And you may say, well, they're not doing it for me, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they're doing it for. We benefit from their actions. And without their actions, we wouldn't have this benefit. So in essence, we receive kindness from so many people on a daily basis. So the first idea is that, well, maybe I should repay some of this kindness. Maybe I should begin to think about the welfare of them. Maybe there's not a lot we can do for those people who are creating, growing coffee beans and so on. But we just have a wish. We have a mental action, a wish for them to be happy too. So what we're doing, even though we can't immediately contact them, but we're training our mind to experience the peace that comes from having this wish, this mind that wants others to be happy. And if we practice this wish on the people that we're surrounded with, that we have a particular karmic connection with, then that makes it much more real. And this makes it more authentic. So when we meet the people that we normally associate with, and we have this thought, I want you to be happy. You don't have to throw your arms around them, around their neck, and just whisper in their ears. But you just develop this wish, I want you to be happy. And so there are many good reasons why we should wish to develop these minds of love and compassion. And give some commentary on a particular chapter in this text. This text you can get for free in a digital version, or you can have it in the hard copy, not for free. So, in the first chapter on this process of training the mind is just called learning to cherish others. And like I say, we consider the kindness of others, and then we develop the wish to repay that kindness. And then in the next chapter is called How to Enhance This Mind of Cherishing Love. And there are particular ways, we talked a little bit about it last week. One of the obstructions that we have in being able to cherish other people is that we're so busy cherishing ourselves because we think we're so special. Do you think you're special? Does anyone not think they're special? We all think we've got these particular qualities that make us special. You know, like where we were born, you know. Doesn't matter, you know, some people are born in special parts of England, France, other parts of Europe, United States. In reality, it's just all pieces of dirt. Every place is just dirt that has a particular different name. The only place that's not like that is Scotland, of course. Scotland makes it special. So we got to look at ourselves really and really ask, well, why am I so special? Really? What's so really different between me and other people? We're all essentially we're all the same. We're all struggling to find peace and happiness. We all have a particular body and a mind and so on. And, you know, the only thing that's really special is our potential to become an extraordinary being. But this applies to everybody. Buddha's teaching that every living being has the same potential. And that's the only thing that is permanent about us, is our potential to become a great enlightened being. At the moment, our mind is just covered over with mistaken minds and delusions and so on. And so we experience problems and difficulties, and it seems like these difficulties are a great barrier to becoming the best we can be. But in reality, our potential, we can get rid of these delusions. We can free ourselves from anger. We can free ourselves from uncontrolled desires and jealousy and so on. Just by developing these minds of love and compassion and wisdom. Particularly wisdom that will just cut through all these mistaken minds. So, if we follow Buddha's instructions, Buddha's teachings, the Dharma, then we can find out for ourselves how we can free ourselves from these delusions, these dysfunctional ways of thinking, and achieve more and more peace. So much so that we could think that it would be possible for us to abide in a state of peace and happiness all the time. If we removed all the delusions from our mind, they never come back, then there's nothing in our mind that is a cause of suffering. There's nothing remaining in our mind that is a cause of suffering, because we filled our mind with love and compassion. It's crowded out all these delusions, and these minds of love and compassion are the causes of our own experience of happiness. And so we go from happiness to happiness, going higher and higher, until suddenly we realize we have this extraordinary ability to help other people to do the same. So, how do we get there? How do we get there? Well, first we got to stop thinking so much about our own wonderful qualities and think about the wonderful qualities of other people. Yeah? Everyone has good qualities. You know, as like I said, everyone has this potential, no matter what they've done in the past, what they might be doing now. this potential remains the same, the potential to become an extraordinary, loving, compassionate, kind, enlightened being. Every one of you has this same potential. And then it says, view all living beings as supreme. View all living beings as supreme. Every living being that you ever think about, every living being that you meet, they're supremely important. And if we view everyone in this way, then naturally we want to cherish them and care for them and make sure they're happy and help. We want to help them and get over their problems and difficulties and so on, because they're supremely important. In what sense are they supremely important? If our real intention is to become a better person, to become more loving and compassionate, we need other people. You can't, go off in the wilderness and shut yourself in a hut and just meditate and think, oh, I'm going to attain enlightenment in this hut. Not really. In modern world, there's not many places we could do that, but also we need to be out in the world interacting with other people. You can't develop a mind of patience or love if you've no one to insult you. Yeah? If you've no one to be loving towards. If you're no one to be patient towards. You can't develop those minds. And that's what we need to be able to do. We need to develop a mind, a very important mind of patience. Because we're going to have to deal with many, many difficult people throughout the rest of our life. And if we're always responding to them with an angry mind or retaliation, we're destroying our own journey. We're defeating our own purpose. So we need to be able just to be patient with everyone. And we can accomplish this by thinking, this person is important to me. If you think of a doctor, and he's interviewing a patient, and the patient is just cursing him and being angry with him and just being horrible to the doctor. The doctor just ignores all that stuff and just focuses on what he can do to help the patient with his problem. Maybe it's an anger problem. Maybe it's a physical problem. But the doctor is just more focused on how he's able to help the person who's in front of him, because he views this person as important. He can't do his job if he just gets angry with the patient. And we're the same. We can't become the best we can be if we're going to get angry with everyone who insults us or humiliates us. Yeah. So we need to be able to practice this mind of patience, and we need to have the determination, this is what I'm going to do. So maybe when we wake up in the morning, we just make a determination, make a decision. I'm going to be patient for the whole day. I'm not going to let myself get angry with anybody. It doesn't matter what they're going to say to me, what they do to me, whether they insult me or ignore me. It doesn't matter. My job is to feel loving and compassionate towards them, no matter what. So this is what it means by thinking, all living beings are supreme. Because we come to realize that what's really important for us is the qualities of mind that we can develop. They're called realizations. If we have a realization of love, for example, the wish for others to be happy, then no longer can we have a mind of anger. This mind, this realization of love will crowd out any feelings of anger towards anyone else. So, with every person we meet, if we have this realization of love, it's like love becomes hardwired into our mental continuum. And so naturally, we become more loving towards everyone. And just naturally, we don't even have to think about it. We don't have to think, oh, I'm going to be loving to this person. It just arises, because that's the nature of our mind. We have this hardwired mind of love for every living being, because we view them as supremely important for us. Our spiritual realizations are our inner wealth, for they help us in all situations and are the only possessions we can take with us when we die. So all the external wealth that we accumulate throughout our life, at the point of our death, it's just left behind. It has no meaning for us at that moment. It has no meaning for us when we take rebirth into our next life, because we can't take it with us into our next life. The only thing we take with us is our mind. And if we've put these hardwired minds of love and compassion into our mind, then that's what we're taking into our next life. And so we're starting our next life. Already we have strong realizations. And so we can continue to make progress to become the best we can be, even if we don't accomplish enlightenment in this very lifetime. Once we learn to value the inner wealth of patience and giving and love and compassion above external conditions, we will come to regard each and every living being as supremely precious. No matter how they treat us, they will make it very easy for us to cherish them. Without this inner wealth of love and compassion and so on, I will have to remain in a state of suffering forever. And so I will always regard other living beings as supremely important. And then living beings have no faults. Can you imagine thinking that? Most of the time we're just looking for faults in other people. Yeah. It's often really how we're educated, how we're brought up, to look for faults so we can correct them and improve them. But if an enlightened being walked in right now, if my teacher, Geshe Kelsang, walked in right now, he wouldn't be thinking about your faults. He wouldn't be looking for faults in you. All he was seeing is living beings who have the potential to become extraordinary living beings. And he would just be thinking, how can I help them to become these extraordinary enlightened beings? So imagine you were like that. Every person you meet, you're thinking, no, you don't see their faults. You see an extraordinary living being who has the potential to become amazing, to become someone whose mind is filled with love and compassion, and has the potential to become a fully enlightened being who then has the power to bring everyone else to that same state. If you view people like that, then you can realize how special they are, really. There's a wonderful story about... The problem is we don't know what other people's potential are. We don't know what their current state is. They may be enlightened beings. The person sitting next to you may already be an enlightened being. You just don't know. They may be appearing as ordinary just to help you become enlightened. You don't know. I mean, even your dog might be an emanation of an enlightened being. If you have a dog or a goldfish or whatever. Yeah. You just don't know what. Most of our minds are mistaken. And there's a lovely story about a Sangha who wanted to be able to receive teachings from a fully enlightened being called Buddha Maitreya. And so he took himself off to a cave in the mountains and he was meditating on compassion. And a couple of times after a few years, he still couldn't see Maitreya directly. And so he got fed up and he was walking down the mountain, and then he changed his mind and he went back again. And after 12 years, he was just in the process of giving up. And as he was walking down the mountain again, he comes across this old dog. And the dog is covered in sores, and so he has his mind of compassion just breaks wide open, and he starts to care for the dog. And of course, the dog is really Maitreya, the Buddha Maitreya. And so the dog appears as Maitreya appears from the dog. And a Sangha says to him, where were you? I was in this cave for 12 years and I couldn't see you. And Maitreya said, I was there all the time. You just didn't have the mind of compassion sufficiently to be able to see me directly. It's only when you began to care for this old dog that your mind of compassion was sufficient. So we don't know what other people's minds are like. We only know our own mind. We don't know what other people's minds are. They may be extraordinary enlightened beings. And then, lastly, we should develop the mind of humility. Humility. There's a great scholar called Geshe Langri Tangpa, in the early 11th century. And he wrote a poem that has 8 verses. And implicitly this short poem, there's only 4 lines in each verse. This short poem implicitly contains the complete path to enlightenment. The second verse is, whenever I associate with others, which is all the time, we're either meeting people, other people, or we're thinking about them. Whenever I associate with others, may I view myself as the lowest of all. And with a pure intention, may I cherish them as supreme. So thinking that in every situation we find ourselves in, I'm the least important person. Everyone else is more important than me. So my job in any situation is, how can I help them? Instead of thinking, how can they help me? How can I help them? The thing is, if we view ourselves as with humility, and when my teacher Geshe Kelsang arrived from India, and he arrived in the United Kingdom, and he was coming to our main centre, what is now our main centre, in Ulverston in the Lake District. He arrived in a taxi from the station, And then he had his translator with him. Someone had come to translate for him because he only spoke Tibetan. And so everyone's waiting, and then suddenly this young man jumps out the taxi and starts greeting them, and so they all think this is the great master. So they all give white flags and around his neck and so on, and take him inside. And the second person, the second Tibetan person, is just left to struggle on behind. And it takes them a couple of hours to realize that the second person is the great master. Because he is so humble. He doesn't care that his assistant is getting all the fame and so on. This fame is no use to him, of no use at all. His great reputation is of no use. Being praised is no use to him. All he's thinking about is, how can I benefit these people? So if we have this mind of humility, then we're always ready to be able to learn from anybody. Geshe Kelsang would always listen to anyone. And he would, he'd always be listening and learning from anyone. He learned so much about this very strange culture that he wasn't used to in the West, and yet he's able to understand it sufficiently to realize that the way he had to teach Dharma, Buddha's teaching, was entirely different to the way in which it would be taught in Tibet. And as a result, he creates this extraordinary tradition where now there's some 1,100 centers throughout the world. An extraordinary presentation of all of Buddha's teachings called Lamrim. And so he's created a presentation because he is able to learn with this mind of humility. And yet he has this great wisdom and compassion, and this is what drives him to create all these centers throughout the world. And this, So this is this mind of humility that we need to be able to develop for ourselves. Because as long as we're thinking, oh, I'm so special, I'm more special than anybody else, then it's like we're putting ourselves on top of a mountain. And when there's a rain of Buddha's blessings or teachings coming, then it just runs off the top of the mountain and just gathers in the valleys. So nothing really impinges upon us. It's very difficult for us to learn anything new because we're so proud of what we already know. So, and if we're going to be able to change our mind around, we have to learn a different way of thinking. Yeah. Also, if we're practicing humility, then we're not we're not thinking we're so entitled that we deserve all kinds of different things. We're not thinking, oh, I should be getting this, I should be having high exalted status, I should, people should pay attention to me, people, and so on and so forth. I was watching, I'm not going to say this. There was a head of state who wanted everyone around him to stand to attention. Because he saw this happening in China and he wanted it to happen in his own country. Anyway, this is It's not the difference between someone who's wishing to cherish everyone else and wishing just to be cherished himself or herself. Although many practitioners practice humility, they will nonetheless accept whatever social position enables them to benefit the most sentient beings, the most living beings. Such a practitioner may become a wealthy, powerful, and respected member of society, but his or her motivation for doing so would be solely for the benefit of others. So a high position can make us, enable us to benefit more people, but we can still remain humble, thinking it's the other people who are more important than me. I'm just using my position in order to be able to benefit them. We need to practice humility even when we associate with those who, according to social conventions, are equal to or inferior to us. Because we cannot see others' minds, we do not know who is actually a realized being and who is not. Someone may not have a high position in society, but if in his heart he maintains loving kindness towards all living beings, in reality he is a realized being. Moreover, Buddhas are able to manifest in any form to help living beings. Unless we are a Buddha ourselves, we have no means of knowing who is an emanation of a Buddha and who is not. So that's the story of Buddha Maitreya and the dog. Buddha Maitreya manifested the dog, made the dog appear to Asanga in order to help Asanga develop his mind of compassion. And then when he did that, he was able to appear to Asanga, and then Asanga received teachings from him. So be kind to your dog, be kind to your pets, and maybe Buddha Maitreya will appear to you to give you teachings directly. One of the advantages of humility is it enables us to learn from everyone. A proud person cannot learn from other people because he feels he already knows better than they. On the other hand, a humble person who respects everyone and recognizes that they may be emanations of Buddha has the openness of mind to learn from everyone and every situation. If we maintain a humble, respectful attitude towards everyone, good qualities and inspiration will flow into our mind all the time, like streams flowing into a valley. So good qualities and inspiration will flow into our mind all the time if we have humility. So we should finish with a meditation. So again, sitting in good meditation posture. So if we can develop the mind of humility, it enables us to think of other people as special. Every person we meet or think about, we can think of them as being important. Perhaps even more important than ourselves. And when we view others as more important than ourselves, it becomes so much easier to think that my job is to help them. My job is to help them find their happiness. My job is to help them to find their freedom from suffering. And if we act in that way towards every living being that we meet or think about, then in reality everyone becomes precious for us. Because we more easily develop the inner wealth of love and compassion and wisdom and patience and giving. And this inner wealth is the only thing we can take with us when we die. The only thing that has any meaning at the time of our death. And so this mind that views ourselves as the least important is one of the best qualities of mind that we can develop. So we make a determination, and just make a decision. I will strive to consider myself as the least important. Thinking of the words of Geshe Langri Tangpa, whenever I associate with others, may I view myself as the lowest of all. Whenever I associate with others, may I view myself as the lowest of all. Develop the wish, the aspiration to develop this mind of humility. And meditate single-pointedly on this wish. Just hold this wish. I wish to develop this mind of humility. Just hold that thought to the exclusion of every other thought for as long as you can. I wish to develop this mind of humility. Because it will bring me great benefit in this and all my future lives. And for the last minute or so, try to have a strong wish to develop the mind of humility. So now you can begin to relax your concentration once more. And when you're ready, you can arise from meditation. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Yeah?
Well, can I just ask a real question, because I'm sure it might be in a few people's minds. Whilst accepting of judging people's behaviour, is there a skillful way of giving advice which doesn't amount to being antagonistic or
Yeah.
pointing out faults, fault-finding?
So the question is there a skillful way of giving advice without being antagonistic? I think there are thousands of ways of giving advice, but it all stems from a mind that wishes others to be happy. Because if we have a mind of love, we'll come to know what to say and how to say it, because we're trying to avoid causing any harm to the other person. Yeah, and so we choose our words carefully, and we just think, if I say this, what will be the response of the other person? You know, how will they feel? And if it's not creative, it's not conducive to their peace and happiness, then maybe we just don't say anything. Yeah. There's stories about people when Venerable Geshe was living at Manjushri, our main center. People would just knock on his door. They would go to see him and tell him all their woes. And after half an hour, they would come out smiling and laughing. They'd gone in tears virtually. And then they come out smiling and laughing, and someone says, well, what did he say to you? And then they think, well, actually he didn't say anything. He just listened. Sometimes listening is the best thing we can do. It all comes from our own mind of love and compassion. And we start from there.
Sorry, I had a question regarding of helping others and having the love and compassion for others. Would you say maybe telling them about the Dharma would be a good way to helping others? Because we have the compassion maybe to help them with something that we can do for them. However, maybe for the long term, thinking about rebirth and karma and everything, would you say, is that the best thing to do for someone? And what is the most skillful way of bringing that discussion up?
I think one of the best ways that we help other people is by example. So if we're creating our own peaceful mind, other people realize this, they recognize this, and then they may well ask, well, how do you get like this? What are you taking? And it gives you then an opportunity to introduce some aspect of Buddha's teachings. And you just think, well, I'm striving each day to become more peaceful and get rid of all the negative minds that cause me to be unpeaceful. And, you know, anyone can do this if they want to. But yeah, I mean, again, it just comes from a mind that wishes for other people to be happy. But I think also, by example, is initially the best way to benefit other people. Yeah. Yeah. Because we learn mostly by example. Particularly children learn by example. Okay. Shall we finish? Okay. I just want to let you know about a half-day course on Saturday, which is being taught by Kelsang Sudana, who's sitting there at the back. He can't, publicize himself, but I can publicize for him. So he's giving a half-day course on letting go. So often we cling to things that are no longer functional and benefiting us. And sometimes we just have to let go of things like anger. Yeah. Let go of the objects of our anger. So Kelsang Sudana is going to talk about that on Saturday, 10 o'clock. Be there or be square.
Yeah, and then the following week.
And the following week. What am I talking about? Oh, you can see it. It's moral discipline. Practicing moral discipline is the foundation of our spiritual growth and development. It's called, there's 3 higher trainings. They're called higher because they're motivated by the wish to become free of suffering. Excuse me. And the first of these is moral discipline. Second is concentration. The third is wisdom. So I want to institute the study of these 3 higher trainings because that's what takes us out of suffering. Okay? The moral discipline provides the basis. It also aids concentration because it gets rid of all our, it helps to get rid of our distractions, which are the main problem with trying to develop concentration. We have lots of distractions. So if you have moral discipline, particularly developing the mind of mindfulness and alertness, because we're watching our actions and our behavior and our speech, then the mindfulness is a kind of basis for developing concentration. Okay? So that's 2 weeks. But next week's letting go. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And just one other announcement before you go. Thank you very much. We've got a kids club on Sunday. You've got the